Brilliant, 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 brilliant. How are you, Kay? How
I'm
are you, Kay? Ah, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant.
great. How are you guys?
Ah, very well, thank you. Very well indeed. Very well,
Very
very
good.
well. Very happy. We're having fun. Everything exciting. Making
Cool.
posts and new posts and
Oh, good.
courses and all sorts of magical, wonderful stuff. Yeah,
Wow.
having a lot of fun. Having a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah,
Well, that's what life's all about. So there you go.
exactly, exactly. Right on that, let me just finish one sentence here real quick. All right, there we go. Okay, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. What have you been thinking about, Kay?
Well, I have. I was telling Erica last night. I had a couple of things happen yesterday that were so um, fun for me. It's those examples of putting things into practice in the mundane.
Ah,
And
yes, that
uh,
is a most powerful skill.
it is, and it's really been interesting for me and fun. And yesterday, I had a couple of things that happened,
Mm.
um, and they're kind of silly sounding, but when you can take what you're learning and apply it in just the everyday things, that's actually where it makes the most difference, I think. And
Mm.
so the first thing that happened, um, I was telling you about how my dishwasher had broken.
Yes, yes.
And
Or was just leaky. Wasn't completely
right,
broken,
right,
right?
right. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
but for one thing, just the idea that we talked about, oh, that's a first world problem, um,
There you go.
that's a
There you
really
go.
good perspective shift.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the other part was realizing that I really didn't have to deal with that right this minute.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not here half the time. It's just me. And I'm very capable of washing the dishes by hand, or whatever. And
Exactly.
so it's not really something I have to deal with right now. And that turned out to be kind of a theme uh, of things that happened yesterday. And it involves the concept of choice.
Mm.
Um, for one thing, I am aware of, and I have been aware, but didn't make the connection, I guess. We were talking too about the whole ADHD thing and,
Mm.
all of
Mm.
that.
Mm.
Um, a lot of times I have found in the past that things unless I see something. If I see it, I'm like, oh,
Ah,
oh,
ah,
yeah.
ah.
And
Oh, I hear you. I'm
yeah,
the same way. I don't eat food I don't see.
right. So, and I've done things to try to, work with that, like making little notes for myself or setting reminders or doing, something to, bring it to thought.
Mm.
But
Mm.
um, something I realized I used to do pretty regularly was I would see something, it would remind me, oh, I need to do that. And then off I would go to do that.
Mm.
And so my time management and my scheduling and my, whatever,
Mm. Mm. Mm.
I would really kind of mess myself up because I was
Yes.
distracted by, oh, I saw that. Oh, I better go do that. And
Ah, would
so,
you call that reactive living?
yes, yes. And it's also I mean, there's just so many things about it. But what I realized yesterday with these couple things that happened was that is really changing for me.
Yes. Yes.
I am
Yes.
learning
Okay.
to,
Yes.
first of all, when I see something and it reminds me, oh, I need to do that, then I stop and say, okay, I don't have to do that right now. It's my choice. And I need to make the time to do
Powerful.
it or whether, blah, 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 whatever. And that sounds like, I mean, when I hear that, I think, you would think that like most 9-year-olds would have figured that out, but it's okay because
They just absorbed all of their bad habits. That's all. It's quite understandable.
it's, it's really interesting. So let me go back and tell you the first thing, because these,
Mm.
like I say, these are very mundane stories, but it's so interesting how this change of a perspective, change of my view of myself, change of my thinking about my thinking, um, how it is affecting every little part of my experience. It's just so interesting. So what happened with
It's not just interesting.
no,
It is by design and by case intent.
oh yeah, absolutely,
It's deliberate. This is
it
deliberate
is,
living.
it is, and
This is the consequence of you applying the stuff, Kay.
right,
You need to really say it's me, it's
it's
my,
me.
I'm responsible. I take all the credit.
I take all the credit.
It is from you. It is from you. Absolutely.
Well, you're
Absolutely.
right.
No,
You're
I
right.
really, really mean it.
No,
It's really critical.
I
Without
understand.
your intent and this application and doing it, none of this would happen. So it's very important to acknowledge. Very important. Karen, sorry. But it's
Okay,
critical to acknowledge yourself. Absolutely.
I'm writing it.
Please, 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 please.
That is a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Good.
Okay, so the dishwasher. So
Mm.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm washing the dishes by hand, and I just put a little dish towel out on the counter and, kind of set all the dishes over there.
Right.
And, I was getting this really large pile, and I can't remember. I made something, I made spaghetti or something that, involved a lot more dishes. And um, I thought, I'm pretty sure my mom used to have a dish drainer, a little
Yeah,
basket
yeah.
thing, whatever. And that would be really helpful. So I look around and then I start thinking, I think I got rid of that in a garage sale. So I was online so I just, Googled that. And, Erica has one that is really nice that I really like. So I found that exact same one at Bed Bath and Beyond. It was like $20. And then it had a little mat underneath. You could get a mat to go underneath and hook up.
Those mats are nice. Yeah.
And so then, and I told you, I had Christmas and I had to pay my real estate taxes, and I had to
Mm.
pay, all this stuff. So I feel really short in terms of
Yeah,
money, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm looking at this thing that's like $30 total. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I should not spend $30 right
When you can go to the yard sale and probably get it for $3.
now. Probably. But it is winter and there's not a lot of yard sales. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, yeah.
the interesting point was, I thought to myself, okay, you know what? I'm getting ready to make a choice here. I need to
Mm,
use this as an opportunity to practice making impeccable choices.
yeah.
And, and thinking things through to the end. So
Wow, wow.
I have to get a Kleenex. Hang on one second. So I just thought, well, here we go. This is a great chance. And, it's something that's really inconsequential, really. And so, just use it as an opportunity. So it was so interesting. I went all the way through and I was thinking about it. And at first I thought, okay, well, it is a good idea to be aware of how you're spending your money. It's a good idea to be
Yeah,
careful
very
and
much so.
grateful and, whatever. But as I'm thinking this through, I'm thinking, okay, but what's really happening here is I'm feeling fearful about money.
Interesting.
And I'm feeling a
Hmm.
sense of lack and worry and, all of this kind of stuff. And I thought, well, that's not, that is not an impeccable basis for making a choice.
Right.
And, I, we've talked about this, I've thought about this, and I do not believe that I am lacking. Uh,
Yeah.
I, I do not see myself as, limited and
Yeah.
whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, I, for a lot of reasons, I
Yes.
am
Yes.
really making a point that that is not the case for me. So I'm bingo. I'm not going to make my choice based on fear of spending money. So we got that out of the way. Then um, I started thinking about how I'm, in this process of thinking things through about things and having too many things in my house and making choices, that
Mm,
through the years I've
Throwing
just
it all out and then putting it back.
accumulated all this stuff that I don't, whatever. And so I started thinking down that line. And I thought, okay, I haven't really started the cleaning out process again, and I'm really trying to think it through and really get a good idea about it. I
Mm,
don't
mm.
want something I read too was, kind of
You don't
along.
want what? Sorry, sorry, I didn't hear the end
I
of that.
don't want to just have this idea that I need to throw everything away. You know, I what I
Ah,
want what I want in the end is not an empty house or what I want is
yeah.
a beautiful, efficient, clean environment. I want a home that is a beautiful place to be.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And I need to look at each thing and decide. I mean, is that contributing to having a beautiful, convenient, efficient um, environment, or is this just extraneous or whatever? And so I started thinking about this dish drainer and okay, does that fit into that category? Is it something that would be useful? Is it something that would contribute to
Mm.
the organization of my home? All that kind of stuff. And I thought, yes, I think it would. So
Wow. Excellent.
yeah. So I decided, okay, I'm willing to look at the possibility of getting this. And so I looked at the ad for it, and they had all kinds of different ones. They had that one, and they had some really cool sort of stainless steel ones that fit down into the sink. And I thought, oh, I like those. Those are really, those are cool. That would last for a really long time. Blah, blah, whatever. And then, but then I thought, okay, a big thing for me is are things environmentally
Oh.
good? Um,
Wow.
and and
Wow.
so
Wow. is
this, if I get this stainless steel thing, is it going to end up in a landfill somewhere, a big piece of junk? And
Mm.
um, the bamboo one, is. essentially biodegradable. So
Mm,
if
mm.
I, 1,000 years from now, it won't be sitting in a landfill somewhere. And
Ah,
so I decided, okay, that's the kind I'm going to get. And I then looked at the mat that went underneath it. And I thought, okay, here I am talking about this biodegradable thing, and I'm going to get this mat that has some kind of rubber thing on the bottom.
mm.
No, no, I'm not going to get that. And I thought I can just use, I could get just a thick kitchen towel and put under there and try that and see if that would work better. So I'm looking at those. And then I think, I have kitchen towels. What, well, I can just try using some of the towels that I have. And if I like it and I want to get a thicker one, I can. If I don't have to. But I don't need to do that. And
Yeah,
I mean, I went through this whole giant process for a dish drainer for $20.
but that's great though. That's
It
great.
was. It was really good.
Excellent.
So I ended up getting it, and it's right down the street from me. The store is right down the street from me, and
Ah,
they did
brilliant.
curbside service. So I ordered it online. They brought it out to the car, and came home, and I used it last night, and it works great. And it's also folding, so if I don't want it sitting on the counter, I just fold it up and stick it in the cabinet, and doesn't take up a bunch of space or whatever. So anyway, I mean, I realized that, a dish drainer and $20 is not like this big earth shattering decision. But for
Wow.
me, it was, it was so awesome
Yes.
to
Yes.
really practice
Yes.
thinking
Yes.
things through,
Yes.
making a choice,
Yes.
like,
Yes. Yes. Oh, but it was, if you play name that app, wasn't just thinking it through, right? It was also attention to process. It was awareness. It was consequence, right? It
yes,
was your impeccability in going through it. It was effort reward. You were doing all of the stuff quite deliberately. That's the
well,
key. Deliberate
and deliberate,
application, another app. I mean, I could probably go on. This is the difference. This is the
right?
difference. This was an empowered exercise. You do it once. Next time you do it quickly and it's automatic. It's no biggie. But it's
Right.
always powerful.
Well, and it's interesting because seriously, 2 or 3 times since then, and that was yesterday afternoon, so it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I am finding myself, first of all, like I said, not making choices based on being deliberate as opposed to, oh, look, there's something I should be, oh, let's, oh, over there, whatever. And it's just, wow, it's a huge change. And I can see how it could be so very helpful to me just on a daily basis. I mean,
Yes. Yes.
and,
Yes.
it's funny because, I was thinking about it, I think about it from kind of a time management type or productivity, idea.
It's huge. It's huge.
Um, you know, at work, things, the schedule was very prescribed. Um, and
Mm.
I had to be, I mean, with my kids, I had to have the kids had to go to art and music and PE at a certain time. They had to go to lunch at a certain time. They had to go, and I had different groups that would go here and there at different times, and you had to keep track of all that, and I had to plan everything out, and all that. So I mean, I'm perfectly capable of it. It's just when I don't have those parameters, and it's just me, and it's just my time is free. Uh,
Mm.
I didn't do it, and so it's interesting and fun and exciting to have that change happening. And it is happening.
Yes.
I mean, you do it deliberately and very consciously, but then it starts to happen just all the time without even thinking about it, which
Exactly.
is really cool.
Exactly. it becomes innate. But we never really lose that deliberateness, because this is the main focus, is to do it deliberately and to live deliberately. So we never really lose that core power of that deliberate effort,
But
that deliberate focus, that conscious doing. Yes.
what is interesting though for me is I think I don't know how to say this exactly, but deliberateness becomes innate.
Yes. Exactly. 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 No, it's exactly like that. Deliberateness becomes innate. And now we start power living.
Right.
It's something else.
It
It's
is
something else.
really cool. Okay, and now here is a really goofy. I'm surprised I'm even telling this, but this morning I took a shower. I'm in the shower and I'm, taking my shower. And again, here I see something and it reminds me of something. So I see my razor in the shower. I
Hmm.
think to myself, oh wow, I probably need to like shave my legs or something. And I think then immediately I think to myself, I don't have time to do that right now.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Brilliant.
No,
Brilliant.
do that another time. And I mean, that sounds like the silliest
Yes. Yeah,
thing,
it's not. It's
but it's,
huge.
yeah,
It's huge. Because otherwise you'd have mindlessly done it. It's winter, for crikey's sake. It's a waste of blinking time. It's like, come on.
yeah. So those two kind of go along with the time whole thing. But the other thing that happened was I guess I was going out to get that thing and I was picking up some groceries and stuff. So I get in the car and it is freezing right now. I mean,
Mm.
it is so cold. And my garage feels like, a deep freeze. So I go out, I get in, I get my big coat and everything, and I go get in the car and it doesn't start.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, oh, I can't stand that. And
Wow. Yeah. Again, was that a natural, a chosen, a default, a habitual reaction?
well, that's the point. Okay, the whole emphasis we've been talking about for a while is about not being negative. So
Yes.
I stop,
Yes.
I think to myself, okay, you know what? I am choosing not to be negative about this. And
Mm,
it is
mm.
aggravating and it's inconvenient and whatever. Um, but first of all, it's possible that, being delayed like that is keeping me from being in the wrong place at the wrong time and getting in a car wreck. You know,
There you go.
I,
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow.
It's possible. So
Wow.
I don't have to come up with something that makes it really good. I don't have to be happy about
Exactly. Exactly. We don't have to know.
it. But um, I'm just going to choose not to be negative. I'm going to
There
choose
you
not
go.
to put negative thoughts out there. And so a little light had come on the dashboard.
Mm,
And I thought, what? I'm pretty sure I have seen this before. And
mm.
um, it's
Ah,
cheating or something, but I can't remember. So I think, well, okay, I got to look this up. So then I go through this thing of, okay, should I get the little book out or should I try to find it online?
mm.
And, here is where in the past I have really gotten myself tripped up, and Erica does this too. Everything comes this giant choice, whatever. So I'm like, okay, I am going to make a deliberate choice and I'm going to choose to use the book that's in the glove compartment because I think I know right where to find it. And so there's not really a right or wrong answer. I'm just going to choose this. So I got the book out, found the explanation, and this whole thing about this little special key and you have to put it in, in this whole thing. I'm like, oh, this sounds horrible. Then, but the idea of the key, I'm like, you know what? The other day when I went for a walk, I'm pretty sure I put my car key in my coat pocket to go.
Uh-huh.
When I walk, I have to lock the door of my car and I have to have the key with me. And I don't
Yeah, yeah.
carry my purse when I'm walking and stuff. So I put it in my pocket.
Mm.
And I was wearing a different coat.
You've got two keys to start the car. One that has the alarm part, and the other
No,
one that has
no,
the
no.
ignition.
I just the key, it's not a real key like this. It's
Ah, ah, ah.
and you just have to have it on you somewhere.
Nearby. Correct.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't. I had it in the pocket of my other coat.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
now in the kitchen. And
yeah.
since I had changed coats, I didn't have the key, and that's why the car wouldn't
Mm,
start.
mm,
But
mm.
by going down this whole thing of
Yeah,
whatever, I was
exactly.
able to I was able to think it through, figure out,
Yeah,
remember what
yeah,
figure out what the problem was, handle the problem, move
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you know,
Exactly. Most of the time, those default reactions, it's not that they are necessarily inherently wildly negative in consequence to us
right,
in themselves, but as opportunity cost, they are massively expensive.
right, true,
Massively expensive, right?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Very cool. Very, very, very cool. Wow. 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 Wow.
those are
Wow. Wow.
just.
Wow.
I think it's really cool to. I mean,
That's very good.
your thing about application, without application. I could sit
Or
here
meaningless.
and read
Ah,
all of these slides and go through this
exactly.
whole thing and talk to you and whatever, and that would
Exactly.
be great and really interesting and
Exactly.
fun. But if I can't apply it in the little things of my everyday life, it's not going to really soak in and become me,
Can you
and
repeat that exact sentence, please, Kay?
I'm not sure if I can.
If I can't apply it in the little things in life,
Right,
it's not going to soak in and become me.
there you go.
If I can't apply way of impeccability in the little things in life, it's not going to soak in and become me. That is just too fantastically beautiful. Please write it down. Please write it down.
Okay,
That's magical.
all right.
That's magical. That's fantastic.
Okay, there you go. Got it.
Brilliant. It's so huge. It's a simple, simple, simple thing. But this is a key for me to really see the profound, profound in the simple. It's the consequence of that.
Right,
You take that and just look at this one simple thing. You see this somewhere. Oh, you got to talk to your friend at this. Oh, big deal. It is a big deal. It's life changing. That simple thing that you did, it's
right,
life changing. Life changing because you're seeing it from that overview perspective. You're seeing the profoundness of application in
right.
this case. It's really huge. It's really, really huge. Really huge. Um, Private positivity. I'm positive it's in the pretty positive it's in the course somewhere, but I don't know where. There's a section called private positivity. I thought it was called a session, but it's not. Beena, do you know where it is in the program?
I remember. I think we've already gone past it.
Okay, okay.
do
Okay,
think,
yeah, yeah. It's like, it talks about when you're watching the TV, don't shake your
right,
fist at
right,
the TV and stuff like that.
right,
It's just one particular way that you can leverage not being negative.
right,
Don't do so in private. And
right.
this is what you were doing. When you were sitting there in the car, that would have been private positivity. You wouldn't have done that if other people were there, right? To fuss and rail and fume.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
all right.
depends on who was with me, I guess, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, we do a lot of things with ourselves that by implication deem to be okay, but they're
Right.
not. This what you said. This just application of this one thing of not being negative,
Mhm.
done impeccably as you are now. Because to do it that's very impeccable. It's huge. It's just fantastic. Just fantastic. So transformative. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow, wow.
I
I mean,
think it's
and you see how you are reshaping your brain, you reshaping yourself, your being, your character. You are literally transforming into a different person. Your behavior is different. I don't care how much you may think I've had all my realizations and down, all the lightning bolts from heaven and all that. Don't mean anything. I want to see it in the detail, in the tiny, tiny, tiny detail.
Mhm.
That's where we want to see it, right? And now it's deliberate, but as you said, over time that deliberateness becomes innate, and
right,
you get to power living. Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, 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 wow.
I
Beena?
remember
Oh, never mind.
deliberateness. I don't know how to spell that. Something. So I read a little story one time, and I don't remember that much about it. But the thing I remember was it was a woman. I think she was a grandmother, and her grandchild. They were out in the garden, and they were pulling out weeds, and the grandmother was having a really hard time, and the child was getting all these really giant weeds, and the grandmother said, how are you doing that how are you getting these giant weeds? And the child said, well, I pull out all the little ones around it first, and
Yeah,
that kind of loosens it up, and then I can get the big ones
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Remove the support.
I think that when we apply things in the
Exactly.
little things all around, then that sort of loosens it up and you can get the big things out.
That's really great, right? That's a nice little mini parable story.
No.
Just write it out for me when you get a chance and send it to me. Just email it to me.
Okay.
The grandmother and the child. Just make it into a story. Just flesh it out. Just write it down. It's perfect. I want to add that that's a fantastic story for paying attention to little things, because somewhere in the program there are no such things as little things. They're all important.
Right. Right.
But this
Yeah.
gives another perspective on it to say, hey, it loosens it up, and then you can deal with the big things.
Right.
Don't neglect those little things. And especially if you're overwhelmed, start doing the little things, and then suddenly, oh, you can pull the big ones. Yeah.
Right.
Plus, also, it's not just loosening the ground, but they're all anchored together. So they're all connected underneath the ground. It's all entangled. So
True.
when you try and pull the big one, you have to pull all the little ones along with it, but not vice versa. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
True.
yeah, yeah.
Well, there we go. Yeah. So anyway,
Fantastic.
I was pretty excited. I was actually really excited about that. I thought it was very cool.
Oh, I'm super excited. That
Well,
is it's so hard to communicate the power and the magic of the little teeny tiny things. We're so ingrained in this habit of looking at the big things. No, it's the little things that matter. Like you said, you can't deal with anything else until you take care of the little things. Plus, that watch of yours, that fancy, $1,000 watch, take out the tiniest little gear and
true. True.
eh,
Very.
we need the little things. There are no little things really. Everything matters. Everything matters.
True.
So it's very important to me to pay attention to small things. And like I said, once you take care of the detail, the rest takes care of itself.
There you go. There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, so what
I add that as a quote to my quote file, actually. don't know if it just came out nicely. Maybe I've said it like that before or not. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
I'm gonna go what?
You were saying?
I'm gonna go heat up my coffee while you're doing that.
Okay, I'm done. Beena,
Yes.
hello. What do you think, Beena? What do you think? What do you think?
Oh, this is amazing. This is amazing.
Isn't that something?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, just amazing to me. Just really, really, really incredible. It's a great joy to really see this happening. To actually observe it in the detail in real time. As Case describing this, to see this preciseness of the change and the transformation that tiny, tiny little things make. Why though? Because she had the tools. She used the tools, really. Right, Veena? This to
That's
me is fascinating. This to me is fabulous, exciting, and awesome.
yes.
Okay, using the tool deliberately and being aware of exactly what it is. Just fantastic. Just fantastic. I'm just appreciating this profound magic of your deliberate usage of these tools of deliberation, of awareness, deliberateness,
Yes. Yes.
and the change, the profound, magical, life transformative change that results. And you can't
Yes.
go back. You
No.
can't go back.
The only surety we have. We cannot go back.
You go
Yeah.
back. There
That's
you
right.
go.
Once you go black, you can't go back.
I don't think that's true.
I know. It's just, it's the brain. My brain is very wired for association. So,
Right.
when stuff we said you can't go back, you can't go back. So of course that pops up in my head. So all right, I'll just throw this nigga poopery in there just for the fun of it because it's so
Oh,
inappropriate. So yeah. I was
dear.
trying to think how can I adapt that? What would be similar to black that would still rhyme, but I couldn't think of anything at the moment. So
I don't know. Think about it.
yeah,
Keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. But,
yeah. Once you're on the rack, you can't go back or something. I don't
well, keep
know. It
working on
doesn't work.
it.
Anyway,
Anyway, so and I was thinking about I really appreciated and liked what we were talking about the other day about ADHD or about being artistic or about being an alcoholic or whatever that
yeah,
you can have a predisposition to something, but that doesn't mean you have to be it.
exactly,
And
exactly.
the alcoholic example was really helpful to me. Just because I mean, it's really easy to see.
Yeah,
There are people who have, that gene or whatever that makes them predisposed to alcoholism. It doesn't mean they
right,
have to
right.
become an alcoholic.
Exactly, exactly.
And so, for me, all these little things where I'm learning to, choose what I'm doing instead of just, reacting and running around, that kind of thing. I mean, I might have the predisposition to that. That might be
Yeah,
what is quote unquote natural for me, but that doesn't mean I have to be that.
yeah.
It doesn't mean I
Exactly,
have to behave
exactly. Not in the least. And forewarned is forearmed, right?
right.
And if you sort of look, since this thing with the gene, it's a relatively new thing. I don't know, maybe 20 years, 30 at most. I don't know when it came out, but it's relatively new. It certainly wasn't there when I was a kid, right?
No.
Or even, in as a young person. Anyway, but since that came out, if you look at people who say this, oh, you know what? I had the gene and my parents had it, and this, I was dead set, and I was very cautious, and I never went there. So
Mhm.
it changed people's behaviors, knowing they had a predisposition to it.
Yes, yes, yes,
It
absolutely.
made them less susceptible, it seems. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
The knowledge changed the susceptibility, and this is
Sure.
good. So our will, our intent, our deliberateness, this is key. This is key.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just because you're
Well, that's just
predisposed,
such a huge
it
thing.
doesn't mean that you have
Right,
to do it exactly.
right. I mean, understanding that that you have choice and that that's your job is to learn to make better choices. Is wow,
Can you say
it's
that
really
last
good.
part again? You just said something huge there.
I said that understanding that you not only have choices, but that
Before that,
it is
said that's your
it's your job
to make choices.
make choices and to learn how
That's
to.
huge. It just kind of slipped out there. He said, that's your job to make choices.
And not only
What? Whoa. Oh, no, I never signed up for this job. Sorry. All that responsibility. No, panic. I'm just saying, for the average person out there, I don't feel this is something that they even would embrace or say, wow, no. But it just came so naturally. Yes, it is our job to make choices because choice is awareness. And that's the whole point of everything. It's all about awareness. So, yes, it's your job to make choices.
and it's your job to
I add
learn
that to
how
my
to
quote
make
file.
better choices,
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
Exactly. I'll amend that. I was going to say it's your job to make choices. Now I'm
well,
going to
it
say it's
is.
your job to
It
make
is
better
your job to
choices.
make choices, but it's also part of your job to learn how to make better choices. So,
Yeah.
uh,
I'll add them both. Wow.
I think that's a pretty cool thing.
It's also your job to make better choices, right?
Right. And it is interesting, Erica, and I'm sure she probably got this from me, which I feel really bad about. But this
What did
aversion,
you do now, Kay? What did
no,
you do now?
just in general, the aversion to making choices, this sort of fear of making
Oh,
choices.
oh, oh.
And now I think both of us are like, oh yeah, that's what we do.
You're choice champions now.
Yeah,
You're
that's
choice
right.
champions now. Right. You see, I put the quote here.
I like it. I like it.
I put them both there, just for that extra emphasis.
Okay, but here now this is what I actually said. It's also your job to learn to make better choices.
To learn. And since you emphasize that learn,
Yes.
okay, so then I must put the emphasis on learn with a capital L
Right?
and not on better, right? Take
Okay.
off the emphasis on better. Yeah,
No,
both,
I
both.
still like
Okay,
the italic for better. Yeah.
okay.
I would make
It's
capital
also your
L.
job to learn to make better choices. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, perfect. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Very cool, very cool. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I
I am
don't know where
watching.
we'll put that into the program somewhere, but we'll put it in.
Okay, cool. Sarah, go lie down. Go lie down. I'm watching her and she is opening the gate between the kitchen and the rest of the house.
Wow. Does she have to go outside? Is it a time?
I don't know why she would go into the rest of the house to go to the bathroom.
Oh,
She doesn't do
maybe she just seems to get antsy a little bit when she
that.
has to go.
I can try her. Hang on. Sorry.
Sure.
All right, here we go. You got your collar? No. Okay. Come on. Here we go.
Simple things, Beena. The power of simple things. It just blows my mind, yes? It just, it's kind of hard to get over.
You saw that chat on Zoom?
Oh, no, I did not. Sorry. On Zoom chat? No. No, it's
Huh?
nothing in Zoom chat on Zoom.
Huh?
You have to put it again. No. It's maybe it's because my thing dropped and came back. It wiped out the chat. I don't know.
Hmm. It was just that I was saying that once you get flack, you can't go back.
Oh, oh, bad, Beena. Bad. You laugh. If you come to America, you may be labeled as that. It doesn't matter how little you have. If you're not white, then you black. That's the logic in America. Seriously, it's too ridiculous.
Ah,
But it's all good. Gives people identity, I guess, or some value to it. Strange business. I know where I'm going to put this quote. I'll add it to the end of Making Sense of It All, Module 7, Session 3, which is again about awareness being the point and purpose of everything. I'll put it.
Sorry, I didn't. And
Oh,
she,
no problem. That's
it's
appropriate,
muddy.
Kay. No
This
worries.
is true.
No worries. No
Hey,
worries.
I was going to ask you, and it does not matter. It's not a big deal, but it's just a question. Do
I'm
you
ready.
have, you're ready? It's not that big of a question. um, it's about our schedule.
Hmm.
Because, I used to, Erica and I switched. I used to come at noon. And I kind of like being later
Mm.
rather than earlier,
All
but I
right.
don't know what
All right.
your times are. I don't know
All right.
if there's a
Let's see.
time
Let's see.
after Erica or if a different, maybe Monday,
Let's
Wednesday
see.
at noon, or
Let's see. Let's see. Let's
I
see.
don't know.
You are in luck. I happen to have my calendar handy. All
Well, there
right.
you go.
There we go. So,
Looks pretty full.
well, yes and no. They are like Sherry's time is available, but that's earlier than yours. You want to go later, right?
Right.
So there's, I mean, you can switch with Erica again if she wants to, but I think
No,
Erica
I
also
want to
likes
do
this
that.
time, right?
She likes that time.
Okay.
But what I was thinking was if we did it, could we do
And
Monday, Wednesday
Monday,
instead of
Wednesdays at the
Tuesday?
same time as Erica.
Right.
Okay. Because, we could go later if we really had to, but we kind of like that as the last session for the day.
Sure.
Because right now, I know it says 10 to 12, but right now it actually ends us at 1 o'clock. This is all summertime. So right
Oh,
now
for you,
everything
right,
you
right.
see here
Your
is an
time is
hour
different.
later our time.
Your
So
time.
this is it's right now it's 11 to 1. See?
Right, right, right.
So you want to be 11 to 1 on Mondays and Wednesdays?
Okay, so that'd be 12 to 2 for me. Yeah, let's try it. Let's try it.
Exactly. It'll be 12 to 2 for you. Yeah. All right.
Monday and Wednesday. I don't think there's a problem with that. And I just would like to try it.
Sure, sure, sure. I'm happy. I'm happy.
Okay.
There we go. Easy peasy. Just like that. It's all done.
All right, cool. Now all I have to do is make sure I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah,
Let's see.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, right now this is 11. Yeah. So 12 your time. Right, right, right.
Right. I'm trying to get this here.
Very good indeed. Very good indeed.
Okay, so we're gonna
Yeah.
change to 12 to 2 Monday and okay. All right, well, let's try it. And if
Sure, sure,
it's not
sure.
good,
Yeah. See.
then-
And then when Erica comes on, we'll ask her. If she wants to mess with her schedule. We'll see.
well, we can. But one thing.
I do actually have to mention something about the schedule for Friday. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
What day does Joe do?
Friday.
Friday. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
what I wanted to say because I do they believe they've been coming an hour earlier I have it all at the same time as she normally comes. Which is right now is at 11, but she's been coming at 10 on Fridays, and I think she came earlier just to do open Fridays, but then it kind of stuck, and now Joe also comes earlier. So, um, but tomorrow I've got a scheduled. Ryan wants to. He's off tomorrow, so he's been struggling to come early,
Right.
which is the only other times available. So anyhow, for him anyway. So I have to talk to her about that. Yeah, but that's typically when they come, on Fridays, and they're just for an hour usually as well.
Right.
So it's minimal time.
Well, that's
But
very.
I am pleased that he does come.
Oh,
It
me
is a
too.
big deal. It's a big deal. It's a
Yeah. Oh,
very
yeah,
big deal.
that's very cool.
Yeah, just to have the spouse involved, or somebody who you're really close to, like you and Erica,
Right.
it makes all the difference. I mean, can you imagine you doing this without Erica,
Right.
or
Right.
vice versa?
Oh, I
It
know.
just is not tenable, right?
No,
Yeah.
it's. I think it's really
And to
important.
leave Joe out of it also, no,
Oh
not
yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Erica and I have talked about that, and she thinks it's really, really important that he, you know,
That what?
that Joe
Yeah.
understand and be involved in some way. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
he just because of his personality. I don't think
Yeah.
he could do the
Yeah.
4 hours a week, but to do a little bit,
Right.
um,
Right.
you know,
And I look forward to those sessions, and I think he does too. It's just a chance that we chat. Sometimes we don't even do any of the course material. We just hang out and chat. And but of course, for me, I'm not going to be talking about football or whatever. Occasionally a little bit, but nonetheless, the opportunity to express and be heard and all this, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
I
it's.
don't know how many people Joe has that he chats to beside you and Erica.
He talks to his family like once a week.
In the way, in the nature of the conversations that we talk about.
Oh, nobody, I don't think. I don't think so. No,
Exactly.
I don't think so. But I think
And
it's
that's a big
really,
deal. That's a big deal to have outside your circle a little bit. It's powerful. It's powerful. So
Mhm. Oh, I think so. I think so.
that's very powerful. Very, very
So
powerful. Very cool.
yeah, we were talking. Eric and I were talking the other day about, and this is another example of changes that are really positive. We were talking about talking, um,
Mm.
and I can't remember the whole gist of the conversation, but I was able to tell her something that I was feeling. Sarah, no. Um, that was sort of uncomfortable, and we were able to talk about it with no, personal feelings or
Yay!
whatever.
Yay!
I know
Yes!
it was
Yes!
great.
Yes!
Um,
Yes! Yes!
I told her, I mean, and of course, I've already got this thing where I want to be so careful not to be interfering or
Yeah.
whatever by being
Yeah.
there,
Yeah. Yeah.
and especially with Joe because
Especially with Joe. Yeah. Yeah.
especially with Joe, and
Yeah.
especially because he doesn't say anything, and so I don't want to be doing something that's bothering him or is
Yeah.
inconvenient to him or whatever, and he doesn't tell me or he doesn't
Yes.
tell Erica,
Yes.
and so I don't know, whatever. So I'm
He
just
just suffers in silence, in other
right,
words.
right, right. And
Yeah.
so I don't want that to be the case, and
Yes, and that's so sweet and
I'm
beautiful and awesome.
I'm
And it's so difficult for both involved. And if you can possibly, in that situation, if we can find ways to resolve that, that's unbelievably magical.
oh my gosh, it's huge. It's so huge.
Huge,
So
huge,
yeah,
huge.
so we were talking. She and I were talking. Joe is out of town uh,
Ah,
for a day or two, and so we actually had a longer talk than we have. And I was telling her, and I don't remember how this got started. It wasn't like it was some big thing that I, was talking to her about, but it just came up that I feel like she has changed in some ways in a kind of adapting to Joe, which is
Mm.
good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it is an adjustment for me because
Yes,
she and
yes,
I have always been very talkative with each other and
yeah, yeah,
laughing and talking and, all that kind of
yeah,
stuff. And, a lot of times that doesn't really happen anymore. And it's not that I think she should change that, but I do acknowledge it to myself, and I was able to acknowledge that to her, and just kind of talk about it. And I said, you know, you have become so much quieter than you ever used to be,
yeah,
um, and I said, I'm not saying anything should change. I'm just saying it is an
yeah,
adjustment for me,
yeah, yeah,
and um, it makes me feel really uncomfortable a lot of times to sit in a room, with other people and they don't talk at all. I'm just like da, 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 whatever. And
And then it makes you jabber more because you're uncomfortable.
because I'm uncomfortable, so blah, blah, blah,
And then like makes it even worse. The vicious circle now, right?
I know. Well, but
I'm
now
laughing.
I just kind of sit there, I'm like, well, okay.
There's more, of course, to this. I'll mention it in a moment. Keep going.
Well, and for instance, and they're young, and younger people, this is just a normal thing for them, I guess. But they, at dinner, Erica makes this fabulous gourmet looking dinner, I mean, it's incredible. And they sit right next to each other. They don't talk, they eat,
Wow.
and they both look at their phones.
Ah. Wow. Wow.
And I think that's really weird, so but I mean, again, it's not my business at all. And
Yes.
um,
That's what
yeah,
works. What works
I
for
don't
people.
I don't say anything, whatever.
Ah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Real quick. Eating in silence. For some people, this is a it's a physiological thing. It upsets their whole eating if they have to. If other people are talking while they eat.
right.
Yeah, it's a peculiar thing, but yeah, yeah, it's very weird.
uh, I don't know. It it's not so much that it's good or bad. It's just an
Yeah,
adjustment
yeah,
for me.
exactly,
And
exactly,
having
exactly.
having lived by myself now for several years, I have learned to eat by myself and not
Yeah,
talk, obviously. And so, I mean, I have made that adjustment with myself. I
yeah,
guess I just didn't have the expectation of that
wow.
when there were other people there. So, and they will sit in the living room on the sofa right next to each other and not talk to each other. And Erica almost always, both of them, they will be on their phones or on some device,
Hmm.
and they're just sitting next to each other, like in completely different worlds. And for me, that's
Yeah,
just a really weird thing. But
it is, it is, it is. There's another factor though. This occurs obviously when you're observing it, but
right,
that behavior may change by the absence of the observer. The observer changes it.
right.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that it does, but
to
I mean,
some extent. I suspect Joe's a lot more forthcoming in private
oh,
with
I think so. I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty
But
sure. Actually. I've seen where once he gets past a certain point, then it starts to come out of him, and
yes,
he
yes,
goes
yes.
that way.
And she was telling me, that they have talked about this, many, 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 many times throughout their relationship, and it's something that they're working through. They have worked through. They're adjusting all the time or whatever. And but it was the thing that was great for me was being able to talk to Erica about it and not, first of all, not be afraid that I would say something that would offend her.
Excellent.
And, and,
Oh, I got somebody at my door here.
oh dear.
No, no, it's just my. It's end of the month, so it's all good.
Oh,
They put little notices up
oh, right.
for the electricity and stuff, so I can get it later. So, all right, cool, cool.
Anyway, being able to talk about things that are not, not that that is some big, huge problem, but
Yeah, yeah,
um, being able to talk about things that are not just light and fun and
yeah,
happy and whatever, and not be worried that it's going to be an issue
exactly, exactly.
is awesome.
Yes,
And I think
yes,
fantastic
yes,
for both of
yes,
us. And I think it's fantastic um, in terms of changing some family dynamics that have not been
yes,
shaped
yes, yes, yes.
correctly.
Because avoidance is now off the table.
Right, right,
At least the start of it.
right,
Yeah. And also, you are embarking on that capital D diplomacy. Because
right,
some stuff, it's a little more, but it doesn't mean you can't. It's just how. But
right,
when there is this agreement to do so,
right,
then you start, and it's fantastic. You feel your way around and you get there, but it's brilliant. But avoidance is certainly off the table. No need to avoid stuff anymore.
right, which is
Everything can be talked about. It's just a matter of how.
right. And I think when you really, really understand that the intent is is always good. Uh,
Exactly. We
then,
are talking actually about capital D diplomacy right now.
right.
These are the underlying fundamentals of capital D diplomacy. Yeah.
I mean, even if you or someone else makes a mistake or doesn't do it the best way or whatever, if you are very clear on the fact that your intent is good, you can
Exactly.
forgive a lot of that, and so anyway, it's good stuff going on. So
Yeah.
um, all right, so I think it would be great to get into the next module.
Yes.
I mean, not
Yes.
module, but the next session. Um,
Yes.
I'm in module 6, habits and mood management, and in session 3, critical change of confidence. And this is so interesting because boy, it just goes.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, and I have a self quote that goes with this.
Oh, hold on one moment. One moment. So we're in module 6, session 3,
Session 3,
critical change of confidence, right?
right?
Here we go. All right, I want to be there with you. Oh, is this a quote you're adding to this, or
This is a quote that I said it, and I'm quoting myself. Okay. Confidence is based, it is,
yes, okay, yes, yes, okay, yes, 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 yes. So again, type that in chat
oh,
for me so I can add it. I love that. I love that. I love that. It's absolutely critical. So yeah, just type it in the Zoom chat and then or any chat, don't matter.
chat.
Whichever's the most handy.
All right, I'm going to type it. When confidence is based on being, let me make sure I'm, whoops, did I lose it? I probably lost it by doing that instead of doing it. Okay,
Nice. So good.
I'm back. Chat. Oh, okay. Instead.
Curiosity is overwhelming me now. To go and get the note, see what's going on here. Well, there is something I want to know. Yeah, all right. So much for my saving. Saved $16.
Ooh, hey, $16.
Well, it's my electricity.
Yeah.
It was 156 last month.
Wow.
That's high, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't think your electricity is anywhere close to that, I'd imagine, or Erica's, right?
I don't know about
I'd be
Erica.
surprised. I never, all the years I ever paid electricity, I never thought it was ever anywhere close to 100 even.
No, I think mine's like 45 or something.
Yeah. How this gets to be so high, I don't know.
And I think I think it's electricity is I have it on an average thing because I think I spend more electricity in the summer because of air conditioning. So they will put it on and they'll average it out so that you don't have to pay a whole bunch in the summer and nothing in the winter, which is kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
I think they it's the park that I'm in, and I think they just add a surcharge. Their rate's not the same as if I was getting it directly, so it's probably more expensive from there.
Maybe they
oh,
are
that's a lot more
charging
expensive though.
commercial charges. Yeah.
It is a lot, and I thought I was being very thrifty and saving a lot, but it don't make much difference.
Well,
One fifty six, 140. It's like, but it's
hey,
what it is.
Is it because of commercial charges?
Well, they probably, they buy it from the electricity company, and then they charge there, so they just put a
so
profit on
they're
that
adding
because
on.
they,
That's a
yeah,
big
because
add-on.
the site rental is it's considerably less than elsewhere.
Um,
Even with this, I still come out less.
well,
So
that's good. That's good.
yeah, I'm still coming out 100 to 200 less than pretty much anywhere else. There's one place that's less, but that's it.
So, are you happy
So,
with where you are?
oh yeah, it's great. So
Oh, good.
that's
Okay,
all
so I
good.
put
It's
this
just
thing.
intriguing to me. That's all. Anyway, we digress. We digress. Never mind.
All right, I put this thing in chat, but I don't really know how to get out of chat. Just press it again.
Just exit out.
Exit out of there. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah.
There it goes. Confidence is based on being instead of doing. It is unshakable.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah. I love that.
Um, yeah. I think I talk about that later on. But uh, I think from what has come up because of feeling like I am not able to do something well enough, or
Right.
I don't, whatever. And if my real confidence is based on who I am,
Yeah.
not how I perform necessarily. It's and I think when you have confidence based on being, it makes your doing better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to add that to myself because I sort of like that. Okay.
Let's say that again.
Okay. Okay. When I have to think about what I said. When you are confident because of who you are, because of your being, your doing. Okay, that doesn't sound very good, but it's when your confidence is based on being, then your doing actually improves.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Is so contrary to the opposite of what we thought.
I
It's
know,
amazing.
I know, I know.
It's amazing.
Okay, I have to correct that a little bit. Okay. All right. Yeah, it is. It is 100% true. We're taught we're taught to base our competence on our doing, you know.
Right, right. And your memory
Right,
too.
exactly. Um, all right, so was a really interesting section for me, session, and um, I think in part because it is something that is changing for me so um, so dramatically, and it's something that I have tried to change for
Yeah,
years and been very unsuccessful. And I think probably for what we were just talking about, based on um, either based on doing or based on ideas that you get in your head, but you don't actually put into practice.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
I
And
think,
also, it is, most of our upbringing, our culture, everything, society, it's all based on personality,
right.
right? And personality is all about your skills and your doings and what you've learned, your memory, all that stuff. We very seldom really do anything that's totally designed on your character, abstract overview, real skills that matter, learning skills, being skills, things that don't vary, right? Like being deliberate, not
That's
being negative, stuff like that.
right.
Yeah,
Well, yeah. And early on, you made the statement, um, your character qualifies you.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that was like a huge, huge wow for me. And it really meant a lot.
yes, yes, yes. That was really cool because that was we were talking about. I don't know, you were about getting into politics, so I said, "Oh, but I'm not qualified." I went, I meant to. I meant to. Your character qualifies you. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. The first slide, I didn't really have I had a repeat back, but not a takeaway.
Yeah. Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
Um, we must feel everything.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the world loses its sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I have to think a lot about that, but I haven't gotten a takeaway that is
Mm,
in
mm,
words yet,
mm.
but I really like that.
Yeah.
All right, the second one, my repeat back is change. Real life change must be applied in our sense of self. We must not only know we are good, but feel we are good.
Mm,
Without the corresponding feeling, it's all pointless. And I think this is so interesting. It is so true. And the cool thing is, I think that's what's happening for me. I'm
yeah.
not only, understanding it intellectually, but I am feeling it. And that is making a huge change. This is my takeaway. Feeling is a deeper, more complete form of knowing. If my self change is based solely on logic or understanding without feeling, it won't be permanent. It's like the people on Weight Watchers who make the physical changes but still feel fat.
Mm,
Feeling is a deep recognition of truth.
mm.
I
Yes.
have found that so
Yes.
interesting to read
Yes.
all these
Yes.
stories about these people who who lose 100 pounds or something, and they still see themselves as the fat girl.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
not made that
Yeah.
change of how they feel about themselves, and
Yes.
I
Yes.
think that's
Um. Yeah. It is a shift in our beliefs that
right.
results in shift in feeling. The two are connected. I shared a post a couple of days back in the group about feeling we believe. That's a very, very big post. I'll tag you in it.
Okay.
Um, it explores this relationship between feeling and believing, and then character. And it's a big thing. So yes, When we feel our truth, that doesn't mean that feeling is truth, but when we do feel our truths, those self-evident sensibilities of our character, this is the epitome. Then your confidence is based on being,
Right,
not on the vagaries of doing. And also, your feeling is not based on a belief, which is, well, it's just a belief.
right,
A belief is not a fact, which means if it's a belief, it's a choice,
right,
which means it's a variable,
right.
which means it can come and go as the wind blows. But when it's
Exactly.
based on my character, my
Right,
actual truth of real self, that's something now I can feel good all the time. Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. That's a big deal. It's a big, 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 big deal. Very big deal.
Right. Dependent. It's true. And I mean, people, quote unquote, lose confidence because they are basing it on the wrong thing. You know, if the situation changes, then they're not confident anymore. You know.
Why? Why?
Um, okay. Number three, we have to feel our goodness, not just have good actions or behaviors. It's not automatic.
Mm,
And I think I liked that point in the slide. Just doing things
mm.
doesn't mean that you're automatically going to feel
Exactly.
different.
Exactly.
Um, so and you know, you would think it would be, but it's not. And so my takeaway was feeling my goodness must be a deliberate choice. I must do more than just be good. I must feel good about my goodness.
Yeah.
I must recognize myself as good, be a good person, and feel like a good person.
Yeah.
There is no ego involved in this. I am good because I am part of universal goodness. It's who I am, it's how I was made. I didn't earn it because of my good behavior, and I can't lose it if I make a mistake.
Mm,
My goodness, or you could say my character,
yeah.
is an innate part of who I am. It's
It's an
not,
intrinsic part of who you are, right?
all right,
Yeah.
it's
Is that
not
what you said? Sorry.
egotistical. I said innate, but it could
Innate,
be
innate,
intrinsic.
innate. I couldn't hear the word properly. Sorry. Yeah,
My goodness is an innate part of
yeah.
who I am.
Mm.
It's not egotistical to recognize and feel that.
No, 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 no. And look at the implications of that statement right there.
Big.
The fact that you even need to say and express, qualify, it's not egotistical to say I'm good. Ah, ah. Seriously, people. Seriously, come on. It's mind blowing. This absolute absurdity of no, you're born a sinner. No, I'm not.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know.
I'm bloody well not. No, sorry. You might be, but don't put your sins onto me. I think all of our social norms and all our behaviors and so prescriptions of behavior, all written by BMNs.
I think you're right. I think,
Why would anybody else bother?
right.
They wouldn't care. It's like, well, I'm good, you good. Okay, life is easy. It's as simple as
Right.
that. The only ones who need to write the stuff on the BMNs.
That's true. That is true.
Okay.
It's so that they can then manipulate and
Right. And justify themselves too. That's why this whole policy came up. Oh, I'm a sinner. Who needs to prove this? Only a BMN who knows they're full of nonsense. It's like, come on.
true. Very true.
But it was just revealing. I mean, it's a powerful statement you made. And I'm pleased you did because it's absolutely necessary that you make it for yourself.
Right.
Because we have this. I mean, I grew up in this culture too. I still struggle with this. It's like, come on, I know better, but it's there in the back of me. I've got to remind myself. I got to be deliberate about celebrating my goodness.
Right.
It's idiotic. It's idiotic.
Well, it is. It is. I did not grow up. I mean, my church was not one of those that did that whole miserable sinner thing. I mean, that was not a part of my religion.
Brilliant. Oh,
but
I'm pleased to hear
which
that.
is good. But
Yeah, yeah,
there is, I don't, and it's not from church, I don't think, but just society in general. And I do think, sadly, that it's more of a female issue. That being confident or being, recognizing and feeling good about yourself, or that you feeling your own goodness and recognizing your own goodness and all that. I think that is culturally has been discouraged in females.
mm,
And it's kind of a masculine quality that, you're confident and, all of that stuff in the past. I think that's changing and I think that's really good. But, for whatever reason and wherever it came from, it is something that I can see I have had to struggle with, that saying to myself, hey, I'm good, is there is this hesitancy to say that or think that out of fear of it being egotistical.
yeah, yeah,
And so going through this and making that deliberate
yeah,
choice, it's not only okay, it is required.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is necessary. It
Yes,
is important
yes,
to recognize myself as good and a
yes,
person of character and a person who is, strong and smart and kind and, all the character qualities. That's me. And myself recognizing it for myself is not a bad thing. It is a good thing and it is a necessary thing. And
yeah,
so I just had to really deliberately and consciously
yeah, yeah.
think through that whole thing,
Wow. And we weren't taught discernment either, and discrimination as children. And we needed to be taught to be discriminating.
Yes.
If we had been taught to be discriminating, we would have been taught that egotistical is not about saying good things about yourself. It is about saying inaccurate good things about yourself.
Right.
Simple, but a huge difference.
Right.
To
Right.
say good things about yourself is simply being honest. And you have to be honest. You're a good person. You're a good Christian. You have to be honest. So
Right.
you have to acknowledge the good things and say the good things about yourself. That's just being honest. But to say false things about yourself that are good, that's egotistical. And actually, it could also be in an inverse way to say bad things about yourself could be egotistical.
They are. They are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Any falsity of yourself for the purposes of drawing attention is egotistical, good or bad.
Okay, I gotta write that down. Um, oh, okay. Attention.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really potent. It's so simple, but we never ever consciously made that discernment, that distinction, and it is so critically necessary, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I like it. Okay. Um, all right. The next one, my repeat back is, if our feeling is appropriate, not based on ego, this prevents indulgence. Confidence or appropriate appreciation of ourselves, or lack of confidence, is a major component of the way we feel. What is the basis of our confidence? And my takeaway is we all have feelings about ourselves. And confidence is a positive feeling about who we are. But what is the basis of that feeling? And it goes on. The next slide talks about that more, but to answer the question, but I'm going back and looking at that. I like appropriate appreciation of ourselves. That is a good definition of confidence.
Confidence is what again? Yo?
Appropriate appreciation of ourselves.
Yes, yes, yes.
And the appropriate part, kind of deals with that whole ego thing. And the slide says that appropriate appreciation of ourselves, or the lack of appropriate appreciation of ourselves, is a major component of the way we feel.
Mm.
Okay, so the next one says usually we base our confidence on our perception of our ability to deal with the future, which I thought was such an interesting idea. I mean, I hadn't really thought of it that way, but that is really true. Um, this is a repeat back, so I'm just restating what was in the slide. Um, our ability to deal with the future is what we usually base our confidence on.
Yes.
We look back,
Based on what though?
right, exactly. I mean, it goes on, but I hadn't even thought of it that way, really. We
Yeah.
look back at how we dealt with things in the past, but whether we did
Yes.
well or did not do well doesn't really help us with our feeling. We may have done well, but still don't feel confident in our abilities in the future. We may have done poorly, but are still sure we'll do better next time, which is so true. I mean, there are people, I mean, I talked about Russell Westbrook. He was like the most incredible example of that. I would watch him do the dumbest things you could ever imagine, and he would turn
Exactly.
around and it just didn't phase him in the slightest, and he
Yeah.
was right
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
always whether we do well or not. I mean, confidence isn't always about that.
So confidence in your definition here now, it's adjusted. Confidence is also based on how well we can recover from and deal with mistakes.
Right, right, right.
That's a
I'm gonna
big point. That's a massive, massive, massive point right there.
That is really true.
It's probably the
Oh,
most defining, it's probably the most defining point of confidence. It's not about how well you can do things and that you're able to. It's about how well you can do with not doing them.
right, right, right. That is really true. That is really. Uh,
Others.
our feelings about the present and the future don't always correspond to our past. A better source of confidence is the fact that we have survived. We are
Yeah,
survivors. We must have done
yeah,
something right in order to survive. But more
yeah,
than this, we can base our confidence in our goodness and our intent, specifically
yeah,
our intent to goodness.
yeah,
So
yeah,
all of that was a repeat back, and it was I mean, that was a big slide.
yeah.
My takeaway was I know that I have an intent to goodness. I have no doubt about this. And
Yes,
this is the
yes,
source of my newfound confidence. And that's really true. I mean, if you know that your confidence is based on your intent to goodness, then you can recover from mistakes. I made a mistake, but my intent was goodness. And so, um, it was maybe an inappropriate application of goodness, but, how can I make it
mm,
more appropriate is
mm,
the question,
mm.
not I'm a horrible person, kind of thing.
Exactly, exactly.
Um, all right. That was a big one. That was a really big
Yeah,
slide.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The next one is if our confidence is based on our perception of our ability to deal with the future, we should remember that whatever happens, we will act appropriately, which is kind of like, what we just said. It
Exactly.
would be appropriate
Exactly.
if you did the wrong thing, the appropriate thing would be to go back and, do it differently. We
Right.
will
Right.
do what is required. We will learn and adapt, and we will get help if needed. That was an interesting part of the slide,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my takeaway is we don't have to know everything or know how to do everything to feel confident. We just
Yeah.
need to know that we have an intent to goodness and will act impeccably. We will do our best and adjust when we get new information. That's really all we need to know about the future. It's all we need to know about ourselves to feel confident.
Yes.
And that is the thing. I mean, sometimes we get into really worrying about the future or, what am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about that? And if all we really need to know about in the future is, you know, I have an intent to goodness, I'm going to do my best, and I will make adjustments when I get more information, there you go.
Yes. Yes. So, what did you say our job is?
Is our job is to learn to make better choices.
Well, our job is to make choices, and then our the nuanced job is to learn to make better choices. But the first job, right?
Make
So,
choices.
that's like the tweak on top of it,
Right.
right? To learn to make better choices. This is exactly what way of impeccability is, and impeccability itself, it's about making better choices and learning to make better choices. Impeccability is what makes the difference between random choices, any choices or not. And the most key thing, impeccability is about basically covering your backside against poor choices.
Right.
It's our insurance policy. It's our get out of jail card. And it is essentially the key. It resolves the conundrum of choice. Yes, we are there to learn to make better choices, but we know we are nincompoops and we know we are going to make bad choices. How do I prevent myself from being wiped out psychologically or emotionally by bad choices? Impeccability. That's how.
Why?
Because I make my choice. I've been thorough, disciplined, scrupulous. I've been best use of energy. I've done everything I can. I've made sure my conscience is clear, and I make my decision. If it turns out bad, okay.
Right.
I'm not going to be. I might not like it and be happy with it, but I'm not going to be wiped out by it. Not at all. Saying, all right, sorry, I did my best. That's all I can do. Right. So this is our guarantee against the problem of choice, which is poor choices. We
Right.
can't avoid it, but
Right.
we can ameliorate it, we can minimize it, and this is the magic of impeccability. And this is why the program is called the way of impeccability, not
Right.
way of appropriateness or way of attunement, way of awareness, way of application, etc. No, way of impeccability.
Right.
It's a huge deal because everything is choice, because everything's about awareness.
Right.
And so you have to have a way to deal with your nincompoopery, and that's impeccability, because that's just part of the deal. We're learning. We're learning to make better choices. Learning, learning, learning. But we have a way to ameliorate making mistakes.
Right. That is a really good point because we are going to make bad choices. We're going to
Exactly.
do things. I mean, that's a fact.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. Exactly.
okay, I need to write this down.
Yeah.
Oops.
It's so simple. It's so simple. But without this, you always, or basically, if you have goodness and you have conscience or ethics and you care, you always going to live in fear of making a bad choice.
Right. Right.
You talked about anxiety and worry. Well, just be impeccable and what you'll worry about.
Right.
It's so simple.
That's true.
That's really it. Same with your confidence. That's it. And if you
Exactly.
can't deal with it, well, so be it. Then it's just your fate.
Yeah. That's right.
like a
Trust.
meteor falling on your head. You can't. Then you can do about. I suppose you could walk around with a crash helmet on your head, but
I don't think it would
it's a big
help.
enough meteor. It's going to squash your crash helmet and all.
I
So
don't think it would make any difference.
exactly, exactly. So you know, you just got to. Some things are just. It is what it is. Gonna happen is gonna happen. I trust myself to deal with it as best as I possibly can,
Right.
if I'm even aware of it. Right?
Right.
Yeah,
But, like you said, I mean, that's what we're aiming for is awareness. I mean, we're always aiming for awareness. And
exactly, exactly.
yeah. And I do think that when we are acting impeccably, even if there are things, I mean, it's like we were talking about, really wanting to make sure that I'm not doing things that are annoying to Joe, coming into his home and, causing a problem.
Yeah,
That is my intent. That's an intent to
yeah,
goodness. And
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
because I have that and um, I am really wanting to be aware. I'm
Yeah,
focused on
yeah, 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 yeah,
things
yeah.
do come to my awareness. I become
Mm,
aware of things.
mm,
I think our willingness to be aware, our desire to be aware, our intent to goodness makes it much more likely that we will be aware.
yes, yes, Kay, yes, yes, Kay, yes, 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 yes.
So,
I have a question for you. Talking about awareness now, right?
yeah, yes,
And you were talking about things and Eric and Joe and silence and talking.
right.
Uh, you're aware of your own behavior, and like in the car, there you were aware of your choices and you're aware of what you were, your reactivity. Yes.
Yes,
And in that moment, you said, "Oh, I have a choice."
right.
All right. Now I have the task for you and a
Okay,
question, both together. How
okay.
much actual real choice do you have when it comes to what you say?
How much real choice do you have?
Do you have? Do UK have? Yes.
I think, yeah, I have all the choice. I mean, if
All
I,
right. Now you got to prove it
right, right, right.
because you say that, but how do you really know until you have demonstrated
Okay,
one choice either way? You've demonstrated the choice to say things, but the choice to be silent, the way, like say Joe is. Me personally, I find that a very hard choice to do. I can do it, but it's not always easy,
right,
right? But I do know that I really can do it because I've made that effort to apply it. It's not something I care for. It's not my predilection,
right,
but and I have to sort of make some effort. But I have made this specific exactly for this reason. I wanted to prove to myself that I can. So
right,
I would recommend you do this. And I don't mean when you're on your own because that's a different thing. In
right.
company, to absolutely just be silent. That's it. And if they ask you what's going on, say, well, I'm proving to myself that I can be silent. Then they have because otherwise they might think, okay, what's going on? Something wrong with you. You
Right.
may even say it ahead of time. So they know what's going on, you know,
Still,
that they don't think you're being funny.
right, right, right. Well, I'll give it a try, but it's not. It is definitely
but it's something we need to know. It's something we need to know, and we need to prove it to ourselves that hey, I'm not just believing that I'm choosing to talk. It's truly a choice. Right? Unless you prove to yourself the opposite, you can never be sure. If you just kind of you full of it with yourself, you're in the breeze, say, come on, okay, all right, you think so, you believe so, but so we have to say no. Sorry, I'm gonna. I employ my stubborn aspect.
oh yeah,
Pull out Mr. Stubborn and I take and Mr. Pride. I bring Mr. Pride doing it because I take stubborn pride in being able to prove things to myself. I leverage that. It's fantastic. But
I,
it's a good exercise.
I definitely have that part too.
It's a good exercise. Now I have one more challenge for you. All right, we don't just make this an easy challenge. We want that extra degree of difficulty. Well, just because, right? The extra degree of difficulty is not just to do it, but to do it and enjoy it.
Oh boy. Okay.
Ah, boy, okay, yes. I have every confidence in you because you also have that stubborn pride that when you get a challenge like this, and wow, I don't know, you have that same thing in you. You can leverage it. It's,
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this because you do realize that you kind of have to do it. No,
Oh yeah. And I mean, I don't always be silent for the rest of my life, but you're
yeah,
right. I mean, prove prove it,
yeah,
and
yeah,
um,
yeah.
it is a choice. And then
It's
when you are not silent, it's because you've chosen. You've deliberately.
exactly, and it's a confidence thing because you can now say with confidence, "I choose to do this."
Right.
It's not BS.
Right.
You can say it with confidence because you've proven to yourself that you can. It doesn't mean you is going to do it habitually or you want to, you like it. But not only can I do it, but I can do it and enjoy it as well.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's not okay. Anybody can force themselves to do something.
Sure.
Pay me $1 billion and you'll see how much I can do. But to do it willfully of my own choice and enjoy it on top of it, okay. But I have my predilections. The other benefit of that is that we do find ourselves shifting out of unnecessary habits to
Right.
realize, wow, you know what? I don't always have to default to this particular behavior. And
Right.
it's very, very useful where we can leverage this choice. And now every time we say it, always becomes deliberate.
Exactly.
And that's huge. But we have to prove that it is deliberate, and that's important. That's important. To
Yeah.
be really deliberate when we speak. It's an
Yeah.
incredible power and a joy, Kay, and a joy. We get to really, truly enjoy ourselves speaking without ego. Just enjoy it because we are being deliberate about it. It becomes part of our artistry of being.
Oh yeah, that's good. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I just lost my place of where I was writing on that. Oh, where did I just write that about the challenge? The challenge. The challenge. It's a challenge. Um. Okay. Yeah, I think that's really good to think about talking being a deliberate choice.
Mm,
In my family, it is kind of mindless. It's
yeah.
just what we do, it's what we've always done. And Erica and I were talking about it, and she said that she really started thinking about it too, and how she said that Joe had told her that he thought that she was being really negative all the time. She would just say all these negative things,
Yeah.
and she didn't think of it that way at all. And that she was just making a
Yeah.
comment or an observation about something, and whatever.
Yeah.
And that we and my mom did this for sure. I don't know beyond that, but that if we see something, we feel like we need to just comment on it, or
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes. Yes.
not. And gosh, my mom, I mean, I could see it in my mom really clearly, because and she would be super negative. We would
Yeah.
drive
Yeah.
along, she would talk about everybody's yard, they need to mow their grass,
But
and
she was being good in her mind. Yes.
right, yeah. And probably in her mind, it wasn't as negative as it sounded. She was just making a
No, she was pointing out things because they should be fixing it and they
comment.
should be rectifying it. And I'm pointing out the sensibility of the world to you, my children. Don't be this way. Don't do this stuff, bad stuff.
Right, right,
It's an inappropriate application of goodness. It's unbelievable.
right, right. So yeah, so I mean, it's pretty interesting
Yeah.
to become
Uh,
aware of that.
yes. 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 Which brings me to something very, very important. Sorry, unless you had something more on this, a big point that I want to share with you. Very big point. Right. It is the problems of new awareness.
Ah, okay.
Be aware that there are problems with new awareness.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I want to say. Just be aware of it. Because both you and Erica, you are undergoing profound changes to your awareness. But there's a lot of new awareness that's coming very quickly and very rapidly.
Right.
And this sometimes can cause problems. For instance, like this. Oh my goodness, I'm doing what my mom did. I'm trying to be good, and I'm being negative. Ah,
Right.
you know. But that's going to happen. We come. New awareness makes us acutely aware of our nincompoopry, and
Right.
sometimes it's a little not so fun to deal with. Just be aware of it. Just be aware that they are going to be this, but don't shrink from it, obviously,
Right.
right? Because if you do that, you might as well give up now. The whole process will come to a screeching halt.
Right.
So it's important to find ways to deal with the problems of new awareness. One of them is to learn, or at least to make this effort and have it to see people, continue to see them as positive, because the more aware you are, you see the full person. You don't just see the, and this is a big deal. So the PSP program is about really seeing the fullness of people, so that we aren't vulnerable and that we're not unaware. But it is specifically geared to doing so without losing your goodness and perspective. To
Right.
see it, know it, understand it, be chill with it, and okay, it is what it is. I'm not going to lose my positivity as a result of this. Nope, nope, nope. As a matter of fact, I'm even going to turn it on its head and use it to leverage my ability to see more, to see positive. So yeah, so it's a big deal. But there's problems of new awareness.
Right.
Very, very, very important. And again, you practicing being more discerning and more discriminating. Boy, this can really get you into trouble when watching TV and politics,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Right.
we do need to develop new, and when we're going to do this in the hearing, and we are going to do this when we get into the nobility. It's all about these skills that we don't have. The problems of new awareness drag you down. It's kind
Right.
of a hurdle we have to get over it. They have that steep learning curve, and I think this is the barrier against more and more awareness. And I
Mhm.
think it's the universe's way of doing this.
Yes.
The
Well,
universe's logic. It makes sense to me. In other words, if you're going to have loads of awareness and you don't have the ability to be positive, this could be a real problem for the world, no?
yes. 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 Yes.
So it forces this. It forces it.
Yes.
It's genius, genius, genius.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Like a test, like a test. Sorry,
right.
go ahead. Yeah.
Well, no, I think, and Eric and I were talking about this the other day too, that one of the most exciting and confidence building things that has happened, and really positive thing that has happened for me, is basically that kind of what you're just talking about.
Mm,
I've had a number of things come up, in the past month or
yeah,
6 weeks or whatever it is, these kind of hard things that, that
yeah.
as a result of my awareness, as a result of Erica's awareness, and then I become aware of what she's aware of, well,
Yeah,
I mean, her struggling with me when she was a teenager, and, when I married Phil, um,
yeah,
she became aware of that. And then I became aware of that. And it's hard, it's really hard. And it's easy to go down a hole of feeling bad and, negative and, whatever, and really wanting to, um, run away from it and just, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I don't want to know, I don't want to do this anymore. And um, I am so happy, and it gives me so much confidence and so much joy that I have not run away, and I have not stuffed it down, and I have
yeah,
not pretended it's not there,
yeah.
and I have not done it, and moved forward with it and worked through it. And gosh, that I mean,
Yes,
that is
yes,
humongous.
yes,
And it
yes,
is kind of what you're
yes,
talking about, that
yes,
um,
yes.
when your awareness is changed, you do see a lot of negative things and things about yourself. You're doing kapoopery,
Yes, and awkward, uncomfortable things.
and
One
comfortable.
of the Yeah, exactly, and one of the particular ones is old friends.
Oh, whoops. I can't hear you anymore. I don't know what happened. I see your
So
mouth.
mute.
Yeah, it's gone.
Oh, no, it will come.
Oops. Oh,
Something is wrong, Phil.
I don't know what's going on, but something's wrong.
Yes. Maybe, I know he is. Oh.
Sarah, go lie down. It is not lunchtime yet. Go lie down. Come on, go lie down. I'll feed you in a few minutes. Oh, Bina Sid is the host now. Okay. Bina, you haven't said very much today. Are you there? Oh,
Hey,
there
can you
he
hear me
is.
now? Yeah,
I can hear you now.
yeah, and no reason at all. It was connected. Everything. It just decided the mic would stop working for whatever reason because I was hearing you. I'm like,
Right.
anyway.
Oh,
I was going to say one of the particular problems with new awareness is old friends.
okay.
Yeah. Suddenly, the friends, especially acquaintances, more or less. When you've got a deep connection and a bond, okay, but still, either way, though, sometimes you just like, this ain't working anymore. Just
Right.
something to be aware of. Things change, we change, people change. I see the things differently. I'm relating on a different set of interests and connectivities now, not the same before. So just be
Right.
aware of it, and look carefully, because otherwise you can get stuck in friendships that you don't want to be. So it's very important. And this is one of the reasons I am so absolutely, I make every effort, keen, I should say, absolutely keen to make sure that the spouses or close friends are also part of the change problem. Because, like I said, if Erica only had done this, she could end
Right.
up with this new awareness and she's got nobody to talk to. And you guys are close family, especially with COVID now. She would stop doing it.
Right.
The choice was, or if she sticks with it, the choice is the relationships or her awareness. This is not a choice you want
Right.
everybody to make, right? So bring everybody along. Bring everybody along.
Right.
It's a big deal. It's a
And also
very, very big deal.
to let go of, especially acquaintances. Um,
Right.
it's kind of like what I was saying about, when I am cleaning out things in my house, I want to have an environment that is beautiful, comfortable, uh, efficient, whatever.
Yes, yes,
It's the
yes.
same thing really in your emotional environment, that, it may be that there are acquaintances that just don't really fit in with your new
Exactly.
environment.
Exactly. Exactly. And sometimes you realize, so often you realize they never really did.
Right, right, right.
So it just, I mean, relationships, this is it. It's a big deal of all nature, friends, relationships, people. I just want to be, really point this out that, hey, new awareness, it's a big deal. It's a very
Mhm.
big deal. But again, not to get too immersed in that, to focus on it because, man, all the magic and the positivity, your new awareness has tools for leveraging moreness out of anything, right?
Right.
And I don't know if we've gotten there yet. I think it's coming now soon, but there is a session in the program which is called Insisting on Extracting the More.
No, I have not.
Okay. And this is a unbelievably potent tool. It may even be the very next one we're going to do. So,
Okay. All right. Well, all right. We only have a few more minutes. Let's see where we are.
yes, let's see where we're at. Let's get right.
Okay. We have survived all of our lives, even when we've made mistakes. We can draw confidence from this fact and expect the same in the future. If we've
Mm,
made mistakes in the past, was it the situation or our attitudes, perspectives, and beliefs?
mm,
My takeaway is reality is usually not the problem or the cause of mistakes. The
mm,
problem is our misconceptions of reality, our bubble perspectives, our mistaken beliefs. These can always be changed and improved, which is also a source of confidence. We're not always as stuck as we think we are. And a lot of times it's not the situation itself, it's our misconception of the situation.
mm.
You know? And since that is changeable, we can have confidence from that.
Exactly.
The next one says there is a reinforcing loop between confidence and positivity. They feed off of each other and promote each other. Confidence and positivity lead to energy, which enables us to be better able to learn, adapt, and be appropriate in any circumstance, which is impeccability.
Exactly.
Um, my takeaway from that was lack of confidence or confidence based on the wrong thing zaps energy or channels it into the wrong direction. Confidence based on my intent to goodness provides energy, which fuels learning, growth, and adaptability. It provides for better decision making, as well as the ability to change direction when needed.
Exactly. Exactly. And think of what you just said. Take Russell when he just goofs and does that, and he just carries on. He's positive about it. It doesn't make him negative and upset. He's just positive. We just give. It's the positivity which is really the confidence. It's that unflinching, unflailing, unrelenting positivity. Yes,
Right?
this is the key. It's that you can be positive, but then something happens and no. When
Yeah,
you have confidence, your positivity doesn't get dented. It stays there.
yeah, I know. He's an amazing example of that, I have to say. All right.
And going ends forward, so will KB, I feel.
I will too. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, we can use our feelings of goodness and intent to goodness as a lever for increased confidence and self trust. My self trust isn't based on a specific set of skills or knowledge. It's based on my knowledge and feeling that I will do my best and adjust as necessary. Basically, what we have. Um,
Ooh, and
oh, yeah,
adjust as necessary.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
And adjust as necessary. That's it. What do I have to worry about? I'll just adjust as necessary. Big deal. So simple.
Yes. And a good example of that is you with your living situation.
Thank you.
You just had to make adjustments, and there you go. Fine.
I do. I adjust. Yeah. Yeah.
There's
You're
Erica.
right on. Yeah. Yeah. That's very good time.
I have just a couple more, so I'm going to, Erica,
Yeah.
if
Keep
it's
going.
okay,
Oh, please keep going. Yeah. It'd be nice to just finish. Yeah. 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 Be good.
finish up. Our feeling of confidence is based on our impeccability. Because we are impeccable, we do everything we can, do what is in alignment with our highest sense of right, and do everything we can to be constantly learning, which connects us to more. And so my takeaway was impeccability is the foundation of confidence, which is basically what we've been
Ah,
saying the whole time.
exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
And this
Exactly.
one, I have to really think about this. I didn't understand this one, I don't think. Feeling our impeccability involves repurposing our intents in our bodies. And
Mm,
I'm restating what the slide says. Feeling our intents allows us to become our real selves. We are then ready for any journey.
mm, mm,
Um,
mm, mm, mm,
I
mm,
said our intents must become real
mm,
physically, emotionally, spiritually, socially, intellectually, every part of our experience. The question then was, how can I repurpose the intents of the tensions of my body to the intent of impeccability and
Mm,
thus
mm.
feel impeccable? I did not understand that.
Okay. Throw it all out and go back in your notes when you were saying about feeling our truths.
Okay.
Go back to that part in your notes.
Okay. That was kind of way back there, I
Yeah, a
think.
little bit.
Yeah. Um, feeling. Okay.
There we go. That
Right.
question reminds me of um, something that Mel Robbins I've heard her say several times, and it goes right along the lines of what we've talked about in Way of Impeccability, where she talks about the similarity between, or really the lack of difference between like excitement and anxiety.
Oh,
Your body has the same reaction when it's excited as it does when it's anxious. And so if you when you have that reaction, if you tell yourself, I'm not anxious, I'm just excited, then you're sort of repurposing the intent of the feeling in your body.
Mm, mm, mm. Say again what you said, what you wrote there about feeling your truth. Okay. I want to
okay.
connect it all now together.
Okay, I got to go back up there. Feeling your truth. Let's see. Where is it? Okay. Feeling is a deeper, more complete form of knowing. If
Mhm.
my self change is based solely on logic or understanding without feeling, it won't be permanent. It's like the people on Weight Watchers who make the physical changes but still feel fat.
Mhm,
Feeling
mhm.
is a deep recognition of truth.
Okay. So what is your truth that we said, right? It's also, we said it's also, we feel what we believe,
Right.
but also your truth as a person. And we said we're going to go past that. We're going to say your truth as a person. It is your character, your core, your root, your real self. No?
Right. Okay.
And all of that is your intent of being.
Okay.
So when you are feeling your truth, you're feeling your intent.
Okay.
That slide we said, I don't know how to feel my intent. Well, feel all of you. Be aware that what you are is an intent.
Okay.
Isn't your core really based on your intent to goodness?
Right.
You are the physical manifestation and materialization and representation of a good intent.
Mm.
So all you got to do is just feel it.
Okay. Wow. All right. I have to think about that pretty hard.
Right. So if you now go back to that slide and look at it in that context to say, oh, well, okay, all right, duh,
Right.
yeah, yeah. But
Right.
again, our intent, the tension, right, as an intent to goodness, we're trying so hard instead of where we said earlier in the thing, just to be, and you don't have to try so hard.
Right.
See, it's the same. That's the repurposing of it from a doing intent to a being intent. And then you feel your goodness of being rather than your goodness of doing. And
Right.
that's the shift of this slide. Is what it's all about. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I got it. Makes sense now.
How does that connect with you, Erica? Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Brilliant. All right. Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't remember what the task is, but we'll look at the task next time.
Well, I think it was that was it. Let's see if I can go back to it. How can I repurpose the intents of the tensions of my body to the intent of impeccability?
Ah,
Yes,
right,
really
right,
impeccable. So
right.
how do I repurpose? Okay.
Right. So you got to feel your tensions and say, what is the intent here? What is the, just feel your body and say, okay, like I've got to need my shoulders all hunched up. For me, that intent is intensity. 'Cause, I do that quite often. So I know already what it is. Okay, I live with it because I'm quite happy being intense. So, and then you say, okay, and the same thing, okay, you can have a scrunched up face. I'm all disgruntled at the world. Well, I can repurpose that into determination instead. Much better. I'm determined. And now I feel happy being determined. Same face, same attention, same stress, right? But I'm shifting it from one that doesn't work for me to one that does.
Okay, I got it. All right, I'll work on that.
There you go. Brilliant. Brilliant. Right. Yeah, yeah. There's
All
a
right.
lot in this. There's a lot in this one. It's very, very delicate, but it's really powerful.
It
So
is. It is. I really like
it's
this.
one of the things that I want to get into with the Qigong, because as far as I understand, we'll have to wait and see for sure. But this is one of the points and purposes of it. So
Okay.
yeah,
Very cool.
brilliant, brilliant.
All
All
right.
right, all
Okay.
right, brilliant. Bye bye, Kay. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye,
yeah,
Kay.
yeah.